Good afternoon, Tuscaloosa and Internet World. How we doing on a beautiful Monday? Monday. Welcome into the Joe Gaither Show right here on BamaCentral, a part of the BamaCentral.com broadcasting network. I'm Joe Gaither. This is the Joe Gaither Show. As you're checking me out, I want to encourage you guys to listen to our other shows on the BamaCentral.com broadcasting network. Goodness gracious, that's caught me up this morning. This afternoon. I'm sorry about that. The other shows on the BamaCentral.com broadcasting network are All Things Bama and Blue Collar Unplugged with Matthew Gibson and Blake Byler. So check those shows out as well on Spotify, Apple Music, any place that you get your podcast. We love you being a part of the BamaCentral broadcasting network. There we go. We're getting it back on track. Good Monday afternoon, Internet World. I hope you all are having a great week, or having a great day so far. I hope it was a good weekend. We're going to review the weekend right here on the Joe Gaither Show. Before we do that, let you know about what's going on for the week. This week, I'll be joined tomorrow by Amari Jefferson. Amari Jefferson, 2024 four-star wide receiver out of Chattanooga, Tennessee. He was on an official visit to the University of Alabama this past weekend, so we get to talk to him tomorrow. I'm really looking forward to hearing from him tomorrow on the program right here at 1 o'clock. You're listening on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, live at 1, and then we're putting it on playback on Spotify, Apple Music, right there on YouTube again if you want to check it out. Then on Thursday, we're going to be joined by former Alabama Crimson Tide outside linebacker and NFL Carolina Panthers outside linebacker Christian Miller is going to join us on Wednesday to talk all things Alabama football, NFL, and so much more. We're just going to have a good football discussion on Thursday with Christian Miller. Looking to fill our Wednesday and Friday with somebody, but we'll get that filled out in the next couple of days here on the Joe Gaither Show. We appreciate you guys for jumping in and joining us. All right, so what's on tap for today? Today is Monday, and it was a fun, it was a little bit of a difficult weekend here in Tuscaloosa sports and Alabama sports, University of Alabama sports. It was a little bit of a difficult weekend. There was some ups, there was a lot of downs, and we'll just get into it right here, right off the bat. Right off the bat, our guys, Alabama baseball, went up to Wake Forest in the Super Regionals, and oh man, they sort of got their butt kicked. Well, the game won 4-5. Highly competitive. Alabama made it a great ball game, really pushing Wake Forest to their limits, answering almost every run. Wake got out to a 3-0 lead. Then Alabama tied it 3-3. Then Wake got up 5-3. The Tide were able to score another run. Caden Rose hitting 2 home runs in the initial first game to make it 4-5. And really, walk away from the first game on Saturday midday. And oh my gosh, before you talk about the game on Saturday, you have to first send out thoughts and prayers to the production truck, to the people in the production truck for ESPN, as they had a member of their production team unbelievably pass out, or unbelievably have a heart attack and die before the game. The game was supposed to be at 11 a.m., but a member of the ESPN's production team had an accident, had a heart attack, and died before the game. So the game was rightfully delayed on Saturday till about midday, 1 o'clock, 1:30. And look, I came away from the Saturday game thinking, okay, wow, you lost. You put up 4 runs against a pitcher in Wake Forest who's going to be a top 10 MLB draft pick this coming up summer. He's going to be drafted in the top 10, so it was a hard matchup in game 1 against Wake Forest's ace, but you came away with a 1-run loss. All right, great. We can go out there and win on Sunday. We can win on Sunday and take it to an if necessary game for Monday. That's what I was thinking. I was hoping. I was planning on that. Oh gosh, it wasn't to be. It was not to be, as on Sunday. On Sunday, the Tide did get their butt kicked. Saturday was a great effort, but Sunday was an absolute, oh gosh, it was behind the woodshed. Wake Forest, the Demon Deacons, took Alabama behind the woodshed and beat Alabama's brains in for 9 innings, 22-5, and really it just started off brutal, as they put up 3 runs in the first inning, 2 in the next, 5 in the third. They shelled Jacob McNary. I love you, buddy. Great effort, great career here at Alabama. Really terrible final outing for him to go out on it. And I'm hoping that Jacob McNary is not just going to, I'm hoping for his sake, his family's sake, everybody, that he's able to lean on and really take away his entirety of his career. I mean, goodness gracious, his last outing here in Tuscaloosa was beautiful. It was what, seven or eight innings, no 3-hit baseball. He struck out a lot of people. He was unhittable in his last game here in Sewell Thomas Stadium. But going up to Wake Forest, golly, he gave up 7 runs off 6 hits, 7 earned runs. He gave up what? How many of those were home runs? He gave up what? He gave up home run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Was it 6 home runs? Oh my gosh! Right there in those first 2 innings. Look, we heard reports. There were rumors. There were reports and rumors that Jacob McNary may have been tipping his pitches against the University of Florida in the SEC tournament. And watching that outing yesterday afternoon up in Wake Forest, it made me think about that report. It made me think about those rumors. Was Jacob McNary unfortunately tipping his pitches? Was he unfortunately tipping his pitches to the Wake Forest Demon Deacons? Now, look, Wake Forest didn't need any help. They're the number 1 team in the country. They were one of the best. They are one of the best batting teams in the nation. So they didn't need any Alabama help. They didn't need Jacob McNary to tip any pitches. They really they have the talent, and they're trying to break the curse of number 1 teams winning it all. I think it was 96, 99 the last time a number 1 overall team won the whole dang thing. So they're trying to break that streak, and good for them. Our guys, the season ends in the Super Regionals. Look, if you take away take the last 8 weeks of this season, what a beautiful ride! What a beautiful story that it turned out to be for this Alabama baseball team. Jason Jackson getting elevated from pitching coach to interim head coach. You had guys stepping up left and right. Andrew Pinckney's last couple of weeks of the season were amazing. You just had great performances, and the team just came together beautifully over the last couple of months. Look, we know that crazy bad things. We know that Brad Bohannon may have been involved in some nefarious activities. The extent, the details aren't obviously known, and so I don't really want to speculate what is and what isn't known. What is known is Coach Bo was dismissed mid-season, and that's obviously a difficult thing. That's obviously a challenging thing. Dismissed mid-season in a season that was kind of going up and down. That was kind of, floundering, trying to decide what direction it was going to go. Well, what happened? They dismissed him, and the team just boom, exploded. Went up. I think it was 14-4, 14-5 when it was all said and done after the dismissal of Coach Bohannon. And so, it brings up the question: should Jason Jackson get the full-time job? And look, 10-15 minutes before I was getting ready to go live here at 1 p.m., I was like, yes, he should get the head job. He should get the extent of the job, but he's not going to get the opportunity. He is not getting the opportunity, as John Talty from 24/7 Sports reports just before we went live at 1 p.m., like literally minutes before we went live at 1 p.m., that Alabama is going to hire Maryland baseball coach Rob Vaughn. Rob Vaughn is going to be the new head baseball coach at the University of Alabama. So look, am I sad that Jason Jackson is not going to get the chance? Yes, I am. I am. But look, do you realize it? Do you recognize the reasons? Do you see? Do you recognize the reasons from the administration standpoint? Yes. If Coach Bo, if what Coach Bo is accused of, if what Coach Bo is accused of giving insider information to gamblers at the least, and at the worst throwing baseball games, then I think it's probably, you can understand the administration's desire to clean the entire slate, wipe the entire slate clean, and give somebody fresh an opportunity, especially a guy who's had such a good record. Rob Vaughn is 183-115 in 6 years at Maryland. He's taken the Terrapins to 3 straight NCAA regionals, and so look, and he's given, and Maryland's won back-to-back regular season championships. So this is a guy who's won at a big level. I mean, the Big Ten is no joke. The Big Ten is not. It's not the SEC, but it's no joke of a conference. And so Jason Jackson is basically, let's see, industry sources told that Jason Jackson is expected to stay on as Rob Vaughn's top assistant. So we'll see how that plays out on the staff if Jason Jackson does stay on, and if he does, I think that's good. because he was obviously well loved. You saw tons and tons of comments coming out from former baseball players, from players who were on the roster yesterday or this past season. Lots of support getting thrown in Jason Jackson's direction, and also just being in press conferences over the last month or so that he handled himself with great dignity and really tried to not make excuses. He never was about excuses. So I was impressed with Jason Jackson's job. I was impressed with Jason Jackson's job. I don't really know how excited I am about Rob Vaughn, but because only the news is just like 5 minutes old. The news is like 10 minutes old right here. So let's read about Rob Vaughn together. Rob Vaughn, he's been at Maryland, like I said, the last 6 years. The Texas native was an assistant coach under John Shevick. Is how I'm going to choose to say that name, at Maryland. He got promoted to the job after Shevick left for Virginia Tech. He previously was a volunteer assistant at Kansas State, so he has extensive experience in college baseball. He's won at Maryland, obviously, over the last 6 years. Been in the regionals for the last 3 seasons, and back-to-back Big Ten regular season champion. So what's on tap for Rob Vaughn? Dude, Rob Vaughn's gonna have to keep the roster together. Gonna have to mitigate roster turnover. You want to make sure that you have Colby Shelton. You want to make sure that you have Alton Davis and Riley Quick all locked up. Obviously, you're losing seniors, and you want to say goodbye to them and wish them well. That kind of thing stinks. But you want to make sure that you keep the core of your roster, the core of your talent together. And Colby Shelton is like priority number one. Colby Shelton, Alton Davis, and Riley Quick. Now, the next big thing. Rob Vaughn, go out and hit the recruiting portal, hit the recruiting train, man. You have to keep this momentum going. Because the momentum is obviously behind this Alabama baseball team. Look, if you were at the regionals in Tuscaloosa last weekend, you felt it. Right at 5,000-6,000 people in Sewell Thomas Stadium 3 nights in a row. The Joe was rocking. It was cool. It was a lot of fun. It was the best baseball environment I've been in this season, for sure. So you have to keep the momentum going if you're the Alabama Crimson Tide. Does it stink to lose in the Super Regionals? Of course. But take a step back and realize just the journey that this program has been on this season. I'd say at the end of it all, it was a successful season. Yes, you want to have championships, you want to lift trophies, that sort of thing. But it was a successful season given everything the program dealt with. So I'm very excited for the next year. That's kind of a milestone momentum for me because, no, I don't really get excited about baseball that much. But, yeah, I was all over watching the Crimson Tide over the last 6 or 7 weeks because the guys really exemplified and exuded the Alabama spirit. We're just going to go out here and work. We're just going to go out here and play our hardest and play together and play for each other. And it paid off. And so I'm excited to see what this program does going forward. Now, will Rob Vaughn be we got to get behind him. The Alabama fan base has to get behind him. The Alabama fan base cannot say, oh, man, I really wanted Jason Jackson. Because, look, I wanted Jason Jackson. I thought he did a good job. You ideally are going to keep him on the staff to ease the transition and to keep things rolling. I think that all signs are pointing up for the Alabama Crimson Tide baseball team. So, yes, it was a disappointing weekend, losing 4-5 and losing 22-5 and being eliminated from the NCAA tournament. But I think all in all, it was a hell of a season, a hell of a final 6 or 7 weeks right here following the Crimson Tide. And I'm looking forward to seeing how it goes. And now we're going to support our new man, Rob Vaughn. Rob Vaughn, the new head baseball coach of the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Hey everybody, happy June. Hey everybody, happy June.
Absolutely, it is a happy June. It's June 12th. We're only about a week into June. I hope you guys are having a great, 2 weeks into June now. I hope you all are having a great summer. And yes, like with the Alabama baseball team, it is losing. With the Alabama baseball team losing, it is now the official conclusion. Can you believe it? It's the conclusion of the 2022-2023 athletic season here at the Capstone. And what a season it was. I mean, it was honestly, it was a great year. People talking about, oh my gosh, Alabama didn't win a national championship, this, that, and the other. All I saw this year were teams that carried themselves with confidence, teams that really worked them, that really represented Alabama. And look, I wanted Alabama to win a national championship in basketball. Wanted to get to a Final Four. Wanted to go to the playoffs here in football. Absolutely. Wanted to see the girls. Wanted to see Montana Fouts win the World Series out there in Oklahoma City. Absolutely. But what you got great character. We got to deal with we got to cover Will Anderson and Bryce Young their final years. We got to cover Brandon Miller, the roller coaster that it was. We got to cover a great player who I think has high character. You can disagree if you want to, but I think he has high character. We got to cover an amazing Alabama basketball season, with all the drama included. Yes, great wins on and off the court, and it was a great year for baseball too. Like, look, as a whole, the 2022-2023 Alabama athletic season, will it go down as maybe a little disappointing? Sure, to those who have the crazy high unrealistic standards, but really throughout college athletics, this Alabama team, the Alabama teams, all year long, I think represented the Crimson Tide in fine fashion, putting on great efforts on and off the court and the competitive field. So it was a great 2022 season, and now we get to hibernate for what, June, July? Oh no. Oh gosh, SEC Media Days coming up in the middle of July. So we're going to get 3 or 4 weeks to kind of play around, do some ancillary topics, have some fun on the Joe Gaither Show until we get back to real live action with Alabama football camp. I think I saw Kevin Norwood was up. So what is that, 84, 83 days away from Alabama? Alabama kicking off against MTSU. So we're in the low 80s. So we're officially in the offseason now that Alabama baseball has concluded. There are no more Crimson Tide sports active until the new fall semester gets started. Oh, does that break your heart, or does that make you excited to go on summer vacation? Either way, we will stay with you for the next several weeks until football gets started. Let's talk about another event, football-related event that happened over the weekend. Eryk Anders, you guys know him from the 2009 National Championship game, caused the sack fumble on Garrett Gilbert to basically seal the deal for Nick Saban's first national championship here with the Alabama Crimson Tide, beating Colt McCoy, Garrett Gilbert, Mac Brown in Texas. Look, Eryk Anders didn't take his athletic career into the NFL. He took his athletic career into MMA, mixed martial arts, and he was on display this past weekend at UFC 289. Eryk Anders and Mark Andre Barrial, led off the main card of UFC 289. The two guys, they are stand-up guys. Look, they're fighting in middleweight, so it's 185 pounds. They both look super jacked for 185. They're probably both fighting at 200 pounds after the rehydration period. But just, oh my gosh. First, okay, Eryk lost. That's the bottom line. Eryk Anders lost a unanimous decision to Mark Andre Barrial. Eryk, you get a lot of credit for me. One, you go up into Canada, Mark Andre Barrial, you're Canadian fighting on his home soil. You go into Vancouver and you fight Mark Andre Barrial and you lose. But I think the story of Eryk Anders' career is, golly, bad luck. Lots of bad luck in his career. Lots of it. He goes out there and he pushes the pace in all 3 rounds. He is in Barrial's face, just giving him work all 3 rounds, trying for takedowns, pushing the pace. But Barrial, I got to give him some credit as well. Barrial was better in the pocket, was better in the close range of fighting, and landed a higher percentage of significant strikes. Yes, he did. Now, Barrial, I think, got lucky in the first round. In the first round, Anders rushes right in to start the fight off, to get the thing started. And look, you got to admire Eryk Anders carrying the pace for 15 minutes. You think, I can do something for 15 minutes. No, you cannot fight another man who is on your level. I mean, some of you can, but the cardio that it takes to lead the fight for 15 minutes is pretty extensive. So Eryk rushes right into the fight, and Barrial catches him. One shot, it was a kick and a punch, a simultaneous kick and a punch that knocks down Eryk Anders right there in the first round. Okay, boom, that's not a good look. The judges knock him down on the scorecard. The next round, Eryk gets kicked in the low areas where the sun don't shine. He takes 2 groin shots. 2 different groin shots, accidental as they were, but the referee, does not take away any scoring away from Marc-Andre Barrial. Eryk Anders, in my opinion, won the second round with or without the penalty. But the judges all unanimously scored the second round still in favor of Barrial. That's where I don't understand. That's where I don't understand as much the MMA UFC scoring, because in the second round, Eryk Anders did get the only takedown. Eryk Anders pushed the pace, continually pushed the pace, and was landing more significant strikes in the second round. They had it on the scoreboard. The significant strikes, Eryk Anders had more and had the takedown, but yet the officials still scored the round and scored the fight in favor of Marc-Andre Barrial. And in the third round, it was more the same. Eryk Anders I won't want to say gassing out, wasn't gassing out, but wasn't tired. I mean, look, you've been fighting for 10 minutes straight. You've been leading the pace, and you've been getting touched up and getting punched. Of course, Eryk Anders slowed down just a little bit in the third round, and Marc-Andre Barrial continued to kind of touch him up from the outside. It was more Barrial's precision and met with Eryk Anders' aggression. Eryk Anders was in his face the whole night. And for it, look, okay, you lost Eryk Anders. His record is now 15-8, 0-1 with one no contest. So he's 16 plus 8 is 24. He's 24 fights. He's looking for 4 more fights in the UFC. And I'm hopeful that he gets it. I'm expecting that he gets it. He recently signed a new contract with the UFC. And look, yes, you took home the loss, Eryk Anders, but you also took home fight of the night. Another bonus for Eryk Anders. Look, that's one thing that he has been all about. He has been all about scoring some bonuses. $50,000 for Eryk Anders for winning the fight of the night. Both he and Marc-Andre Barrial both get $50,000 bonuses because it was the most exciting fight of the night. I will say it was the only full fight that I did watch. I watched a little bit of the Amanda Nunes and a little bit of the Charles Oliveira fight, but I was only into the card for Eryk Anders, and the two of them delivered with a fight of the night performance, earning them both $50,000. So, yeah, you got beat up a little bit, Eryk Anders. I mean, obviously, he's going to be home. He's going to be fine this week. It really wasn't. He didn't get beat up that. He didn't really walk away with anything that looked like an injury. He didn't have anything bad cut. I don't think anything was broken. So just going to be some bumps and bruises this week, and he's going to count his $50,000 as well as obviously his performance, his showing up. He's going to get his performance paycheck as well, and he's going to have 4 more fights in the UFC. And Eryk, man, I'm going to watch all 4 of them because I love you, Alabama guy. I wish, golly, Eryk, if you'd gotten into MMA right out of college, right, instead of trying your hand at some NFL time. Look, that's just what I would have done too, try my hand at the NFL. But if Eryk Anders had been into MMA during his college days or right after college, who knows where he is? I mean, the man's right at 33, 34. How old is he? He's like 2 years older than I am, so he should be like 35, 36. And so, look, he's on his back end of his MMA career, and we're looking forward to seeing what Eryk Anders will do at 185 pounds the rest of the way out. Eryk, it sucks you lost. Count your money. We'll be supporting you here from Tuscaloosa for your next fight, hopefully in 3 to 5 months. And we'll get to talk about it. I would love to interview you again. I've interviewed him before a fight. Next time, before the next fight, we're going to try to get him set back up right here on BamaCentral on the Joe Gaither Show, right here on YouTube. All right, so that's a little Alabama baseball. That's a little bit of fighting. Let's see what else is on the docket for today. We got a lot from
Hey, everybody. Happy June.
Happy June indeed.
Hey, everybody. Happy June.
All right, so let's switch it to basketball. Let's switch it to basketball just a little real quick. Alabama basketball. We had Blake Byler on Thursday, and I really appreciate everybody who's checked out the episode that Blake Byler joined us this past Thursday. You can watch it on YouTube or Spotify, Apple Music. Check it out. The Joe Gaither Show on BamaCentral. Blake Byler joined us on Thursday to talk all things really recruiting and roster management. Well, what happened after Blake Byler joined us on Thursday? All right, there's been some developments from some of the conversations that we had on Thursday. First real development that you can see. Modi Abate, Alabama freshman, who is he's coming in. He's going to be a forward. Look, you all know, if you pay attention to Alabama basketball right now, you all know major holes right there in the front court, major needs at the forward position, forward, center. You need some big bodies. Well, Bad news. Bad news for the Tide. Yeah, you lost in baseball. Eryk Anders lost. More bad news. More bad news for the Tide. Mo Diabate posts a photo on his social media over the weekend, over Thursday, Friday, Saturday, of himself wearing a rather large knee brace. Golly, the bad luck just keeps rolling with Alabama basketball. It seems like every year somebody has a knee injury or somebody has a knock with it. James Rojas, you had JQ, you had the who's who. You had Namari Burnett, and now you've got Mo Diabate. Now, what do we know about this knee injury? Absolutely nothing. Absolutely, I want to make that clear. Absolutely nothing. We don't know if it's like a total knee replacement on the far end of the extreme, on the most extreme, like times a million. That's not it. And we don't know if it's just, hey, he strained his knee and we're wearing this big old brace. We don't know. I want to stress that. What I have heard, the rumor, the most favorable rumor is a torn meniscus. All right, we can deal with torn meniscus. We can. That's the most likely rumor. I'm thankful that it's there, but I want to emphasize it's rumor. It's not fact. Because, you know, Alabama basketball can put out today that it's torn ACL, and I'm going to cry. I'm going to cry if that's the case. But the most favorable rumor that I've heard is torn meniscus for Mo Diabate. The timeline for that, a couple of months, you have the surgery, you clean up the knee, you clean up the torn meniscus, then you have some recovery. The problem is you're not going to lose cardio, but it's not going to be as good. You're not going to be as ready for the start of the season, especially if you're a freshman. Golly, if you're freshman, you're coming in for your freshman year, you need all that time. You need that entire ramp up, in my opinion, to get ready for your freshman season. It's night and day going from high school into college basketball. And so, Mo Diabate, we are prayerful for your recovery. We are prayerful that your injury is not going to be a severe injury. I think that really we're going to hopefully see some news on the Alabama basketball front pretty soon. Oh, James, it's never too early to worry about basketball season, especially with the problems and the holes that Alabama basketball has on its roster right now. Continuing that conversation with the whole, another development, Alabama, one of our targets, Arthur Kaluma, Creighton forward, made his announcement he's going to Kansas State. Oh, Jerome Tang in Kansas State. He got another one, man. Tang, the former assistant from Texas, he's gone to Kansas State, and he has figured out this daggum transfer portal. I'll tell you that. Taking Kansas State deep into the tournament this past year with a lot of transfers, and once again hammering the transfer portal, scooping up Arthur Kaluma. 6'7" forward out of Creighton, averaging 12-6, 12-7, and really was one of Alabama's bigger targets in the last couple of weeks. So what? I think it's now time to hear from Grant Nelson. Grant Nelson, North Dakota State. Grant, look, Grant, I know you were on a visit to Arkansas. I know you went to Arkansas to Fayetteville this past weekend, and they probably offered you a lifetime supply of Tyson chicken, as well as 2% stock in Walmart, as well as, Eric Musselman's firstborn, whatever. I'm sure they offered you everything at Arkansas. But you can come to Alabama and make yourself a first-round draft pick. We'll offer you some heavy NIL as well. It won't be as sweet as what you're getting from the Walton family, but we'll offer you some heavy NIL as well. So Grant Nelson, look, he concluded his visit in Tuscaloosa. He concluded his visit in Fayetteville. All the reports from Joe Tipton, from my man Blake Byler, all the reports say that it's now down to two schools, Alabama and Arkansas. And yeah, you were looking for news yesterday. You're looking for news today. You're not going to get it. All my rumor mill has said that you're not going to hear from Grant Nelson today. But Grant, please, oh my gosh, we will make you a star here in Tuscaloosa. I will sing your praises from the high heavens, Grant Nelson. The need for Grant Nelson now is tenfold. After losing Arthur Kaluma, after kind of seeing Mo Diabate go down this past week in practice to an injury, to an undisclosed injury, you need to get Grant Nelson into the Alabama Crimson Tide fold. Yeah, oh gosh, it's so important. So we're looking forward to seeing some news on the Grant Nelson front here very, very soon. All right, let's flip it to football. That's what you're all here for. We've already wasted your time with Alabama baseball, with a little MMA, and Alabama basketball. So let's flip it to football. That's what you're all here for. The Alabama Crimson Tide football team. You want to start NFL or you want to start with the college? Let's start NFL. We'll make you continue to wait for the goodies. Jahmyr Gibbs, the only NFL timeline or topic that I want to talk about for right now or for today. Jahmyr Gibbs, if you didn't see him this past week, he met with the Detroit Lions media, as rookies and all players are known to do. He meets with the media after OTAs, and look, he's doing his media thing. Jahmyr Gibbs having his fun. He wasn't getting anybody in trouble. Jahmyr Gibbs is asked, "Hey man, what's the difference between Alabama practice and NFL practice?" And Jahmyr Gibbs gave Alabama Nation a little tidbit, a little gold nugget that we can enjoy over the next couple of months. He says, one big difference. He says, we get the work in the NFL. We get our work in. We come out. We do our jobs. But they're not trying to kill us out here like they were at Alabama. What? Come on, Jay. Come in, Jahmyr. We weren't trying to. Nick Saban wasn't trying to kill you. Oh, man. Okay, so what? Lots of people take it and run. Oh, Nick Saban overworks his players. Oh, Nick Saban. No. I think Nick Saban just prescribes to the mindset that the practices have to be harder than the games. We want to test you in practices to see what you're going to do in a game. And Nick Saban is the master at that. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is experiencing, like a lot of players who leave Tuscaloosa and go into the NFL, they experience, it's a little more corporate. It's a little more business-like. It's not as pushing you to your brinks. You got to do that on your own in the NFL. Now, so what's Jahmyr Gibbs going to be doing this year? I saw recent projections. Jahmyr Gibbs right about 500, 600 yards rushing behind David Montgomery. Look, y'all know that I'm a Chicago Bears fan, and David Montgomery spent the last four years with the Chicago Bears, went to the Detroit Lions, and is now slated as the starting running back in front of Jahmyr Gibbs. Jahmyr, do not sit behind Demo. Jahmyr, put in some work this summer. Look, he's more talented. He's a lot faster than Demo. Now, I don't think he pass protects as well as David Montgomery. David Montgomery is a pretty good little pass protector, and he's pretty good at running in between the tackles. But as far as pure speed and overall running back ability, Jahmyr Gibbs puts David Montgomery to shame. There's a reason they drafted him with the 12th overall pick. Lots of people said, you overdrafted him. You could have got him later. No, you drafted him with the 12th overall pick because they're going to work him. I'm sorry, Demo. They didn't pay you jack squat. They didn't pay David Montgomery real money. They gave him 3 years, $18 million, $6 million a year. That's average starting running back money, but that's not superstar starting running back money. That's not, hey, you're not going to get your job taken away from you money. No. Jahmyr Gibbs is going to do that work, and oh my gosh, I'm going to have to wash my mouth out. But I think the Detroit Lions are going to be highly competitive this coming up season, 2023, because, and look, not just because of Jahmyr Gibbs, but Jahmyr's going to be a part of it. Jahmyr and Brian Branch, they're going to be a part of it. And so, Jahmyr with a funny quip, the funny little line about Alabama, not Alabama practices trying to kill him. He said, they don't try to kill us here in Detroit. They're not trying to kill us here in the NFL. Maybe Dan Campbell, you need to ramp up your practices a little bit and push Jahmyr Gibbs. It sounds like he's got a little bit more in the tank. It sounds like he's got a little more in the tank to give than he's been giving you. All right, we're going to go one more topic, and this time it is going to be...
Hey, everybody, happy June. Hey, everybody, happy June. Hey, everybody, happy June.
Happy June as well. Thank you, Andrew Luck. We appreciate your participation in the program. Look, if you haven't seen it, if you're living under a rock, or if you don't care about recruiting at all, it could be you. It's no big deal. Look, it was a big Alabama recruiting weekend. It was a really big Alabama recruiting weekend. You had, 7 guys on recruiting visits, on official recruiting visits. Yeah. Jordan Seaton, Rico Scott, DeMello Jones, Arian Hampton, Daniel Calhoun, Isaiah Faga, and Amari Jefferson. All on official recruiting visits this past weekend. And you guys all know where Alabama's standing for their with their recruiting class, 24/7 recruiting. Alabama's what, 13th, 14th? If I can spell and type at the same time, that would be a really helpful thing. So Alabama's what, 13th? Yeah, that's 2023. I want 24 because that's what we're working on right now. 16th currently in the 2024 overall rankings with 8 commitments in the class. What, the most recent one was we saw Joseph Iannetta commit last weekend, offensive lineman out of Florida, and you're really looking to see Alabama make some inroads in the next month or so. Look, June and July over the last 2 years has been the heavy recruiting period for Alabama, where Alabama has made a lot of inroads. I remember 2020, everybody was like, "Oh my gosh, it's the pandemic. Alabama has only one recruit, has only one commit," and then by the end of August, it was like, boom, number 1 class in the country, and had it all filled out. Alabama's going to do some work over the next month or two. And we're really excited to talk to Amari Jefferson tomorrow. We're going to talk to Amari Jefferson about his visit. And look, Amari tweeted a couple of times for his visit this past weekend. He was sitting right next to the man, the myth, the legend, head coach Nick Saban. So we'll hear for what he said. We'll hear what he said to Amari Jefferson over the weekend. If you haven't heard of Amari Jefferson, what you need to know is he's a top-end prospect out of Tennessee. He goes to Baylor, private school. He goes to Baylor right there in Chattanooga. He's been committed to Tennessee baseball for quite some time. And look, you all know Tony Vitello, and you saw all the stuff with Tennessee baseball and Southern Miss. Did they advance or did Southern Miss advance? Because I didn't even see. Let me find Tennessee. Oh no. Are they having an if necessary game today? Yes, an if necessary game today for Tennessee baseball. So we'll see if Amari Jefferson, obviously Amari Jefferson is going to be paying attention to that. We'll ask him about that tomorrow. But look, he's committed to Tennessee baseball. He's also had heavy interest from Georgia football and Alabama football. He was here in Tuscaloosa this past weekend on an official visit. And there was a lot of official visitors this weekend. You had major offensive linemen. Jordan Seaton and Daniel Calhoun. Both guys coming the weekend. Both guys coming for their Calhoun for his 12th time, and for Seaton his second or third time in Tuscaloosa. And you got good reports. From both guys. The biggest issue is teams are using Caden Proctor, last year's major offensive line recruit, as kind of a deterrent. Hey guys, Jordan, you don't want to go there. Daniel, y'all don't want to go there. You're going to be sitting behind Caden Proctor for years and years on end. Look at that big monster. And yeah, Caden Proctor looks like the bee's knees. Looks like the truth at the tackle position. Freshman out of Iowa. Looks like the real bleeping deal. And so I understand coaches trying to use that for negative recruiting. But that's what it is at Alabama. You come to Alabama, you are going to be playing against the top competition right here in Tuscaloosa. Do you want to prove yourself against Caden Proctor? You want to go? Look, you beat out Caden Proctor. You're in line for getting all the eyes, all the NFL scouts. You're in line for getting all the eyes of the who's who of anybody. Who cares? So come to Alabama and compete. So yeah, Jordan Seaton and Daniel Calhoun on the visit. Look, Isaiah Faga is an interesting prospect, defensive lineman out of Central Phoenix City in Alabama. If you've paid any attention to him, he's originally out of Las Vegas. He's committed to Utah. He's got some Polynesian descent, so we all know that Utah has heavy ties with Polynesian culture, and so you've got a little bit of competition there. But I think that there's been a heavy push. There's been a heavy push for Kevin Steele bringing in Isaiah Faga, Kevin Steele and Freddie Roach, trying to get him into the class, because I think that they see him as maybe a run stuffing defensive lineman, somebody who can come in and really kind of fulfill that old Josh Chapman role, that old Terrence Cody role. He's 6'2", 284, so he's just a hair undersized still. But look, junior in high school or going into your senior year, you got plenty of time to grow out. And if you come to Alabama, you are getting the top end of the nutrition and strength and conditioning. And so you're going to grow. You're going to grow from that end. All right, so just a little bit of other. Let's see. DeMello Jones. DeMello Jones was the other recruit this weekend who was committed elsewhere. Fega and DeMello Jones. Fega committed to Utah, and Jones is already committed to UGA. Look, DeMello Jones has been highly sought after. And interesting note, this past weekend, Caleb Downs was his kind of official visitor, was his kind of guide this past weekend. And so he and Downs, DeMello Jones and Downs, both from Georgia, and Caleb Downs committed is here in Alabama. Who was it was between Alabama and Georgia for his commitment last cycle. So DeMello Jones is going to continue to be a huge prospect for Alabama. I think Alabama's in great shape for a lot of these guys. I think Alabama is building momentum on the recruiting front in a huge way, and I think it's going to be a fun next couple of weeks and months following the recruiting for Alabama. Now, in addition to following recruiting, I cannot wait for fall camp. I can't wait for fall camp because we're going to get some of these questions answered. Right, we're going to get some of these questions answered that we have about this Crimson Tide team. You've been talking about it all offseason long. Oh, it's the most important offseason in Nick Saban's tenure here at Alabama. Got to replace 2 coordinators. Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. Oh, best defensive player ever. Huge offseason. Absolutely a huge offseason here in Tuscaloosa. And it still remains that. All those facts remain to be true. I want to conclude our program today by talking about the bald man in North Carolina. The bald man in North Carolina joined a radio program in Birmingham this past week and talked about the Alabama quarterback battle. Look, we don't know who's going to play quarterback here in Tuscaloosa. We don't. You obviously know you got the 5 guys who have come in. You've got Jalen Milroe, you've got Ty Simpson, you've got Eli Holstein and Dylan Lonergan as the 4 kind of Alabama guys, and then the 5th, Tyler Buckner, comes in as a transfer this past during the offseason and enrolled pretty recently, like a couple of weeks ago. And the bald man in North Carolina joined a radio program in Birmingham and said that he doesn't think that Tyler Buckner comes to Alabama without a wink and nod deal from from Tommy Rees and Nick Saban. And come on, Feinbaum, you're doing this on purpose. I know you're doing this on purpose because this is what you do. You're smarter than this, Paul. Hey, Paul, you're smarter than that. You're smarter than insinuating that Nick Saban has a wink and nod deal with anybody. Now, has he probably said, hey, man, come on in. You got as good a chance to start as anybody else. I believe that. I believe Nick Saban said to Tyler Buckner, come on in. The competition's wide open. The water is warm. Show us how you do it. I believe that. You cannot take me. You cannot take me to the place where Nick Saban says, Tyler Buckner, jump in the transfer portal and transfer to Alabama. You will start in 80-something days against MTSU. No, that is foolish. That's absolutely foolish. I'm still expecting Jalen Milroe to take the start, to be the starting quarterback, the first snaps, September 2nd against MTSU. I'm still massive. It would surprise me if Buckner won the job. Still. But I think it's very foolish. I think it's very foolish to insinuate that Tyler Buckner was given some sort of a promise or some sort of a wink and nod deal to come to Alabama, come to Tuscaloosa, and he'd be guaranteed a starting job. I think the most wide open position on the field right now is quarterback. Sure, you can look around the rest of the positions and say, oh, this one's up for grabs, that one's up for grabs. But I think quarterback is the most up for grabs. And with that being the context, there's no way that the best coach in college football, yes, or maybe second best coach, whatever you want to say, the best coach in college football is promising starting positions to players who haven't even taken snaps in practice. Zero chance that he's doing that. I mean, look, if Nick Saban is doing that, that's malpractice, and really should ruin his legacy. Nick is not doing that. Coach Saban's not doing that. Coach probably said, heck yeah, the competition's wide open. Nobody's earned the job yet. Jalen looks all right, but he's making mistakes in practice. He's turning the ball over. Oh, Ty looks all right, but he may need more time to learn the offense. Oh, Eli and Dylan, they look all right, but they're just freshmen. They're working their way through it. We got to see if they can do it when the pressure's on. Sure, come on down, Tyler Buckner. Come see what you got. If you can earn the starting quarterback job here at Alabama, I mean, look, what are the elite jobs in college football? What are the elite jobs in college football across time? Running back at USC, quarterback at Alabama. Like, seriously, what are the other major, safety at Miami, cornerback at LSU? Like, there are some major jobs, it's just like playing shortstop for the Yankees. It's just like playing shortstop for the Yankees, really. You play quarterback here at Alabama, the prestige. Yeah, I can play quarterback at Marshall, Virginia Tech, at Georgia, at Florida. Anyway, I'm sorry. Quarterback at Alabama is different. There's a reason that 12 jersey has sold and sold and sold and sold and sold throughout time. Thank you, Joe Namath. Quarterback at Alabama is one of those positions in college football that just comes with an extra layer of prestige. So, of course, Tyler Buchner says, do I really want to battle Sam Hartman here at Wake Forest? Sam Hartman, who was basically, who probably was given a wink and nod job. Sam Hartman, come from Wake Forest to Notre Dame, and you can get a starting job. It's more likely that Sam Hartman got a wink and a nod for Notre Dame's starting position than Tyler Buchner got a wink and nod promise for Alabama. I imagine Tyler Buchner looked around and said, hey, Sam Hartman's got a leg up on me. I'm going to go to Alabama, a program, more prestigious than Notre Dame by hair. And I'm going to go to a program that actually has a wide open quarterback competition. And I'm going to try to see if I can win the job. It's asinine. It's crazy to me to insinuate that Nick Saban would even promise jobs to future recruits. I'm sure he told Kula and McKinstry, hey man, you're going to have a chance to start as a freshman. But he wasn't promised any jobs. Oh gosh, foolish to guess or to even insinuate that Nick Saban is promising starting jobs to players who haven't even taken snaps in practice. Bald man, you're better than that. Actually, you're not. That is your job, to just stir up headlines and make conversations. So good job. You made a little conversation piece for me right there. I appreciate that. All right, let's kind of wrap this bad boy up for Monday, as it's been about 45 minutes, 15 minutes. Let's hang out tomorrow with Amari Jefferson. Amari Jefferson, 2024 wide receiver. I keep wanting to call everybody offensive lineman. Why? Oh, it's probably because I'm trained in on Friday's conversation with William Sanders, 2024 offensive lineman from Brookwood High School. If you missed William Sanders, you can look at it on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music. William Sanders talked about his scholarship offers from Mississippi State, from Alabama, and from LSU. Talked about his time at Brookwood and really what his plans are for 2024. Now look, tomorrow again, we're talking to Amari Jefferson, 2024 wide receiver. Already a baseball commit at Tennessee. He's committed to Tennessee. He's playing around with football scholarships from the who's who in the SEC. He was on an official visit here in Tuscaloosa this past weekend. We'll talk to him tomorrow. On Thursday, we're talking to Christian Miller. Christian Miller, former Alabama outside linebacker, Carolina Panthers outside linebacker. You hear him on Tide 100.9 on the Miller's Edge, and you also hear him on Crimson Tide Sports Network on doing sideline for the football game. So he's down there doing sideline reporting for the Crimson Tide Sports Network as well. He's going to join us on Thursday. It's been a fun program today. I hope you all enjoyed yourselves talking about Alabama baseball. We are excited to announce Rob Vaughn is the new Alabama baseball coach. And Jason Jackson is apparently being retained as the top assistant. So that's great news for the Crimson Tide. Hopefully Jason Jackson will continue the momentum. Rob Vaughn can carry it forward going forward into next year. We talked Alabama baseball. We talked Eryk Anders, MMA, a little UFC in Alabama. We talked Mo Diabate, Arthur Kaluma, and Grant Nelson. A little bit of recruiting and Jameer Gibbs as well. So for Chris Walsh, that's our boss. You can follow him at Writing Walsh. You can follow myself, Joe Gaither, at Joe Gaither 6. Send me all your comments, questions, queries, and complaints to Joe Gaither 6 on the socials, on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook. That's where you can find me. And then, of course, for you guys, the list of you are the most appreciated. I appreciate you guys the most for tuning in and hanging out with us. We'll be back tomorrow with Amari Jefferson on the Joe Gaither Show. This has been the Joe Gaither Show as a part of BamaCentral.com and the BamaCentral.com broadcasting network.